Good evening everyone. The noise in the background is my laser cutter cutting out lots and lots of parts. And this one hasn't quite cut all the way through, so I'm just helping it along. But it's pointless wasting another sheet of material with the right thickness on. Second sheet, that's my next part list. I'll just take that off for a minute and just stick another sheet of a different material in, just so I can carry on. If I get all this printed, then I can build. I spent an awful lot of time last night just drawing stuff up, so it's nice to actually construct tonight. So just bear with me a second whilst I set something up to print, and then as soon as I've done that I'll be back with you again. Tabs, automatic, yes please. Right, I'll set that going. Okay, let me continue. This is 0.9mm laser board here. Before I go too much further, I'll just check it fits where it's going, and it does. Perfect. You can't see because my camera's not in the right place, but I can't move it either, so you'll just have to wait, but that is the right place. Slightly better having to just finish the cut off rather than... Well, that's unfortunate. Unless... it's a different piece. I think perhaps I've made a slight error there. It might be a slightly different size. Never mind, we'll come back to it if I need to. A lot of confusion can arise when you're cutting out so many pieces. Right, thankfully the laser stopped again now. Gives my head a rest. It actually gives me a headache, that. Good evening, Mr. Obi-Wan. So, last night I was doing some drawing, and tonight you're seeing the fruits of that drawing. Made myself some window surround pieces that hopefully are all going to go together nicely. So far I've noticed one that's gone slightly astray. Not bad, not bad. I'm waiting for some news, and then we'll know if it's bad or just okay. But I'll probably find that out tomorrow. I'm probably going to have to go out again tonight, because last night I was dropping the girlfriend, or the son's girlfriend, back home, and tonight I'm going to have to go and pick him up from said son's girlfriend, from said girlfriends, And I should have cut out more of those. I'll just have to double up if I have to. So I should have just set the power to a little bit higher for this, or the speed. The power was on 100, but the speed was on a bit too fast, I think. I should have just slowed the speed down a bit for this thickness, but I'll know for next time. But like I say, it's always better to have the have to cut it out a little bit rather than burn away and not cut at all. Or cut too powerful, that's what I'm trying to say. My laptop's not plugged in. It's going to die on me. And I do need it to refer to the drawings. How old is the son? He's 16. He'll be 17 in August. Got a slight curve to this board, which is a little bit annoying, but once it's glued down you won't be able to tell. You'll be 17 3rd of August. Oh wow, you'll be 17 8th of August. So there were just 5 days between you. You'll be the youngest, one of the youngest in the year then, like he is. Are you September or October then? Hello, Katie. And my son's girlfriend is one of the oldest in the year, so she's like 10 months older than he is. But they're in the same academic year. His best friend from preschool is the same. He's about 10 months older, so he's like the older end of the year. So Cam's almost 12 months younger, even though they're in the same school academic year. I'm actually going to leave those intact because they're so small. I'll leave them on the sheet until I absolutely need them. There's just something so satisfying about having these nice crisp cuts through thicker material. Ah, if you're doing your GCSEs this month, you'll be the older end then. My son did his GCSEs last year. He was in first year of college. Hello, Matty boy. Yes, I do. They're all commission pieces, these. So I'm making a copy of my client's house at the moment. That's what I do. I make scale models of people's actual houses. I'm lucky enough to be able to build this one. It's a beautiful house in the south of France. It's really large. Sort of almost chateau. It's like a village town centre chateau. I'm only making part of it because it does kind of go on for quite some space. It occupies quite a lot of land, but it would make for an unmanageable model if I made the whole thing. So we're just doing the main building as opposed to all the outhouses. What's the cost? It's rather expensive. I don't talk about it on live, but if you want to message me privately, I can tell you there. Oops, I'll fall down. Now before I glue anything together, I'm just going to do a quick dry fit. And this is where I discover that I've I'm going to say I've messed up, but I've not. I was thinking that I'd forgot to cut something out, but I haven't. That goes in there. That sounds good. I used to watch, there used to be something on one of the sort of like, Discovery Channel type things for the French Chateau, eccentric English guy that bought a chateau to do up, and all their adventures therein. It's that one that looks like I've messed up and made the hole a bit too small or big. I don't know how I've managed that, but I'll figure a way out of rectifying that. Could be. It's a guy with sort of a very strange and wonderful beard. It is slightly out, but never mind. I will rectify that just by covering it up with something else. When I say covering up by something else, I've got a frame that goes over it. So after I've checked that these fit, I'll look at starting to glue it together. I bet that was interesting then. Which way around does this go? I think it's that one. No. Somewhere along the way I've gone astray again. That one's definitely right. I think I've got two of the same one. I'm trying to put the wrong one in. I'm trying to put the outside one on the inside, if that makes sense. It's like a big jigsaw puzzle. doesn't slide across very well, but that's the kind of gist. Yes, thank you very much, I did. Right then, I think it'd be sensible to glue those in place before I lose them. The next layer is a different thickness, and that's going to take a little bit of thinking about. So I'm going to have a look at gluing it together. Now I'm going to use white glue to do this, because otherwise if I glue it wrong, it'll I'll not be able to peel it back apart. Sorry about my arm in the way. Right, so you see what I've got here is an inner and an outer. The window frame is going to go right behind here when I make them. But in the meantime, I've got multiple layers here, and I'm going to try and glue it all together. So I'm going to use some really expensive glue. When I say it's expensive, it's a specialist glue for gluing gluing glazing for models. It's just it's a bit more expensive than regular PVA, but it's quite strong, so I'm just going to use it for this. On. Like I said, because it's PVA, I should have a certain amount of repositioning time and get it in the right place. Otherwise, if it was super glue, I run the risk of it gluing down straight away in the wrong place. What I could really do with is some kind of jig to help me get it square. I'm just using a scrap of 4mm MDF, and there's a load just gone on the table floor there because I'm no room to do anything. So everything goes flying once I try and move stuff. I think that's pretty much in place. I had some new material turn up today. That won't stand up. I had some new material turn up today, which has meant that I can get on with this. Just double checking that we're lined up. The proof is in the placement of the inner windows. They're spot on. I should have adequate amount of framing going on. Good evening, Pip. How's Pip? So I'm going to start gluing those together, and that way they're all done. So this is the result of last night's drawing. I've made a load of files to create the stepped ornate stone moulding. Very, very time consuming job. The drawing of it was. And now the individual piecing together is going to be a task. What I'm thinking of doing is filling in those gaps with a little bit of clay to create a step, but I'll see how it looks in the first place. Well, truth be told, I've got a bit of a headache. That's because I've been running the laser. And yeah, that's what it does. After a while, just keep running and running, it just gives you a headache eventually. Just try and slide it over slightly. This is why gluing it on with, whoops, where did that go? Gluing it on with white glue to start off with is a good idea, because even if it's just slightly off, it does show and make the difference. So because it takes a little bit extra long time, a little bit extra time to dry, you've got a little bit of positional play left. Of course, the best thing to do would be to create a jig. Which would allow a bit more accurate placement. Oops, that's too much. I think most of it's because of the repetitive noise, and yeah, it's better if you can like set it off and have it running independently. But I ended up, well, I was trying to be a little bit proactive, so I had some, ouch, I had some pieces running whilst I was cooking dinner tonight. So I shut the door and left it going. But as soon as I'd had dinner and was ready to go, I was kind of cutting a piece and then working on the drawings, or assembling the drawings ready for the next piece. And it turned into quite an efficient way of doing it. I don't know if you can see the effect that's being generated already. Here we've got a step in the stonework, and what's going to happen, it's going to build up in layers as we come forward, and hopefully we're going to get a nice bit of window work going on. Do you know what, I do wonder how I would have managed with the Cricut doing this. It certainly wouldn't have cut through laser board like this. I'd have had to use different materials, and the sheer speed that the laser cuts through things as opposed to the Cricut. You know, I've got pretty much all my pieces done this evening before I started, in sort of the time that it might have taken just one to get cut. So it's improved efficiency by a heck of a lot. The only downside to not using super glue is the lack of instant grab, especially if something's a little bit warped or not flat, which is the case here. It's got an ever so slight warp to it, this material. It's just purely because of the way it's made. It's made out of laminated card and glue, I think. So it's made out of multiple layers, and because it's got multiple layers, it has different stresses and pulls acting against it, which causes it to bend. Yes, I'm hoping it's going to look like carved stone. The front main windows are certainly looking like I wanted them to, so happy enough with that. What I'm trying to do is make it in such a way that you can't tell that it's been laser cut. There's so many like laser cut and 3D printed buildings that people make that you can instantly tell that it's a laser cut piece. And my aim is to build something that looks just like my usual style, but with a little bit more precision. Can't even say precision. I can't even say it when I'm trying to say it properly. Precision, as opposed to post. Forget it. Precision. Say it with me, folks. Precision. Right, let me just check that these are the right pieces before I go and glue it in, because that's what happened earlier. I got it wrong. Yeah, those are the right ones. This is so exciting. It's like putting together a kit, except it's a kit that I've designed myself. I always find words hard. I find it hard to word on a daily basis. Quite a lot of you watching tonight. It's very nice to see. Thank you very much. It's not very photogenic at the moment, but we're getting there. Last night was a lot of boring computer work, but it just shows you the behind the scenes stuff that goes on before you can even start assembling. So basically what I had to do last night was draw all these shapes out ready for tonight, but then once I'd finished drawing them all, I had to separate them out into the component parts so that then I could start assembling the frames like this. Just making sure this is the right way up. There's a certain way up for this, and that's that way around. Yeah, so once I'd drawn it all up, I had to separate them out into different drawings depending on what thickness board I was using. So I've used, for the main, I've got 0.9mm laser board, which is what I'm using right now. And that's giving me this stepped look that we're going for here. And then I've got a layer of 0.6 that I'm going to follow it up with. But we're just creating very interesting looking carved stone. Thank you, I'm glad you're finding it interesting. I'll be able to show you the bulk of the project once I've finished gluing these bits in. I had a very timely order from the laser suppliers today that meant a load more MDF has come in. And I had actually got, there was some 4mm on special offer. It was actually so special offer it was free. So I've got 10 sheets of 4mm MDF for nothing. It came free with the order, which I thought was a really good thing, because I can use it for bracing rather than rather than the actual fine details. I can actually use it for the behind the scenes bulk structure, so I'm not wasting material on on other parts. Now for some reason that was just a bit short. I don't know why. Maybe I cut the hole wrong, but I'll be able to mask that with the subsequent layers. So I'll glue that in. Like I said, it's got a slight kink warp to the board, even though it's small pieces. When I'm sticking them down, it doesn't stick properly. The top windows there show you the level of stepping in involved here. Now the real thing has kind of a carved bevel to it. What I'm thinking of doing once I've glued all these pieces in is just running a bead of air drying clay along the seam of each step down, so it looks more flowing. And now I'm wondering if I should really do that before I do the next layer. That would make sense, wouldn't it, rather than trying to have to get my fingers into different layers. So I'm going to try that. If it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world, because it looks great as it is. But I'm just going to try and do that little bit of extra step detail. So I'm just getting some air drying clay here, and I'm going to just rub it alongside that step just to fill it in, but give it a slight sort of carved stone effect. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do because it's so small. Try and zoom in a bit so you can see a bit clearer what I'm attempting to do here. Looks a bit messy right now, but I promise you it won't be. I do have quite a lot of windows to do like this though, so I may give up the will to live, but I think it's just worth that little bit of extra time just to get that sense of carved stone. Well, she might come in tomorrow to find out I've pulled it all back off again because it wasn't working. I don't know if filler would be better for this rather than clay. But I think clay's got a little bit more plasticity to it, if that's the correct kind of word. You have to finish some homework off. Oh, good girl. Can't get the homework slip. What I'm up to right now is I'm creating some carved stonework, but it's in multiple levels, multiple layers. So what I'm actually doing now is filling in the gap between the layers with some clay, just to try and achieve a kind of carved bevels effect rather than a definite step down. It does look a little bit messy. That's due to excess clay. I don't have a specific tool for this, I'm just using everything to hand. I do try and cross post, but sometimes sometimes I just forget. Thank you. I am actually thinking about switching over to YouTube as a live resource rather than TikTok. No, what it is, it's you can kind of imagine that the step down between the stones has got a bevel to it, like a slight curve. So instead of it being a definite drop down, like you can see there, it has a slight bevel to it, and the only way you can achieve that without sort of carving it is this. So now what I'm trying to do is create the bevel between the layers of stone by just adding a little bit of clay. And then after that I'm going to add the next level, the next layer. All will become clear if you stick with me, or unless I have to shoot off. It's going to be a truncated live tonight because I need to go out and be a taxi. I just don't know when. The joys of having teenagers. have the slight excuse if this stone isn't very, very precise, that it's a 500-year-old building, and as such it does have a little bit of crumbling stonework in places. I'm trying to make it as actually as neat as possible, kind of like a restoration job but in miniature. But I think I'll have the perfect excuse that if it does go a little bit astray, that I can just pretend it's slightly decaying stonework. Pros and cons about using air drying clay depends on the ambient temperature as to how quickly it starts going off. Obviously I do want it to set quite quickly so I can carry on in terms of, you know, being able to paint and things, but I also don't want it going off before I've had a proper chance to fix everything in place. So I just keep going around bit by bit. Any excess I should be able to just scrape off once it's fully dry. Use a very small file. I've still got loads of windows to go. This is where it all slows down. It was going really quite quick, but now I've decided I'm doing this. It's slowing right down. But mind you, this was always the plan. It just gets a little frustrating sometimes when you want to accelerate on and a tiny little bit of detailing starts becoming time consuming. Oops. Scalpel's not the best tool really to be doing it with. It's not bad though. Let me zoom out. Kind of, like I say, it kind of looks a little bit scruffy. But once I've let that dry in a bit, it'll be better. It's because you've got a mix of the white clay and the bright wood. Let's continue on. So my fingertips will end up covered in clay and I'll have no fingertips left. That's not doing it at all, is it? I just had a tea delivery. The joys of having your daughter home from university for a few days. It's been nice having her back, but she's going to go back for her exams tomorrow. Well, she's not got exams tomorrow, but she's going to go back tomorrow night so she can prep for her exams. Just got a very timely tea delivery. Sometimes I do. It depends how guilty he feels about being out late. But he's not in at the minute, so he can't deliver tea. Cup of tea and a slice of cake. Aye. Is that you showing your age there, or is it just a phrase? I think there will be an element of filing. I'm trying to reduce or eliminate as much sort of post work as possible, but I think I will have to do a little bit of filing. Wurzel, yes, I thought it was Wurzel. Cracky, you'll be as old as me then. He did like a cup of tea and a slice of cake. You a bit warm, Tim? Almost as old as I am then. You're a year behind. I was 50 this year. Don't feel 50 though. That didn't work as well as intended. with this. It would, yes, but because I'm resting on MDF, I'm wondering if it's going to have an adverse effect, so I'll just do it dry. It's a good idea though. I think things would get a little bit messy though with a bit of water. But I know what you mean, it'd make it a bit more pliable. I just don't want any excess water or undue water getting into the MDF before I've sealed it. It's like one of those things, isn't it? You're watching along going, what the hell are you doing? It's a mess. That would mean getting up, don't I'm a lazy sod. I don't think tea has the same effect, or at least I don't want to be dipping milk in it. drying quite quickly. You can see it's already changing colour. I don't know if you actually can see that it's already changing colour, but the first bits I worked on over there have gone quite white now as opposed to cream. And that's, as it changes to white, that just shows that it's going off, starting to dry. But it's not a very thick layer that I'm using, so it shouldn't take too long to set. Of course, you can actually speed the process up a little bit with a hairdryer, but I'm not in a rush to paint this tonight. I'll be a long way from doing that just yet, so there's no need for me to artificially enhance the drying process tonight. It does help taking off most of the excess where possible. I just hope that all this extra effort is actually visible at scale. I could have got away with maybe just leaving it stepped, because it still looks like a really nice stone effect, but I just want to go that little bit extra. Just when it was almost right, I went and scraped off too much. Keep picking up the wrong tools, I don't know what I'm doing. Certainly going to have to scrub the mat after this because there's a lot of dried clay stuck to it now. If there isn't, there will be. For anybody that's just tuned in, I'm making a carved window, or a series of ornate stone window reveals using a combination of laser board and air drying clay. It's a very messy job, but one that's quite worthwhile. Now those are the bigger windows. I'm just going to try and do these smaller ones now. This is why I was thinking maybe I need to do this now rather than when I've got all the layers in, otherwise it's going to be quite difficult to get into. As it is, I'm quite sort of fat-fingered right now. It's that top window that's going to be the difficult one because there's already 2 steps in there. That's where I decided it was quite a good point to try and get this working. Hi John, I'm making, I've just explained it, but I'm making some ornately carved window reveals for a big French chateau. So these are quite some interestingly stepped windows, and to get the effect I'm looking for, I'm using a combination of laser cut layers for each step, and I'm just filling in the gap between the layers with some clay to give it the effect of carved stone. It already looks quite effective as it is, but I'm just adding that little extra layer to try and give the illusion of a beveled carved stone. That one has not stuck in. That is frustrating. Let's get some super glue in there. Come on, let's get you glued in. Hello Andrew, doing very well, thank you. Thank you for coming along tonight. I've just still got a few bits of clay left out of the first batch that I pulled out of the packet, but like I said, it's already going off, which is a good thing, because at least then I know it's not going to end up getting severely smudged when I do my next layer. But at the same time, I've got a narrow window of workability. Window, get it? Narrow window. No, this is a new project the farm's done. The farm's behind me currently, both in terms of completion and figuratively speaking. It's on a shelf or a table behind me. I've barely got room for it, but yes, that project is now complete. It was very fun to do. I kind of miss it in a way, but this one's just as exciting. You want to see it? Okay, it's not very well lit, but I'll just move my camera. Oops, I have to verify. It's not verified. I got the jigsaw puzzle in the wrong place. There we go. Yes, that's the farm. I'll just tilt the camera a little bit for you so you can see it better. Unfortunately, I got my phone plugged in, so I can't give you a full 360. But that's how we're looking right now. Got some really good photographs on my Instagram. If you want to go look there. I'm gonna go down to Devon in at half term. I'll take my lad with me for a little road trip. So yeah, I'm gonna go deliver it in person by hand, which will be good, and hopefully I'm going to get a couple of days. Oh, I can't pick my knife up. A couple of days on the road, a couple of days staying down in Devon, and we might see if we can do a bit of bodyboarding, if we can find a nice beach. So it's unlikely that I'll get a summer holiday this year, and various factors, but if I can get away to Devon for the kind of a long weekend, that will be really cool. Just need to finalise details, but yeah. Thank you, Keza. Yes, I am. It's I think it's my favourite project so far. Although this one may have the honour of replacing it. It's like every project has like develops a certain place in my heart, as it were. I think, oh, nothing's going to top that, and then I do something else. But yeah, I've really enjoyed working on that farm. It's the biggest thing in that scale that I've made so far. Biggest project, not thing. It's too good to be a thing. I'm trying to fine tune as much as I can with this, but I know I'm going to have to go over it with a bit of emery paper once it's all done. Yes, I'll get to see the house and the model side by side. I'm hoping to get some decent photographs, you know, of the house and the model and the subject together. We'll see what the weather's like, because I'm not standing outside in the rain with it if it's raining. But if it's a nice day, it'd be nice to get some subject and model photographs. Maybe I can even get my son to photograph me holding it in place. You know, holding it up in front of the house. I've delivered a fair few by hand, but I don't often get to see the actual subject because the handoff happens to be like halfway or something. So I'm also going to try and blog the road trip, if you see what I mean. I'll take some photographs on the way down, if I'm not tempting fate by trying to photograph it as I go. Well, that's a kind of plan. I'll try and do like an Instagram. Here's the model at Gloucester Services. Here's the model at Exeter. That kind of thing. This is the difficult part now because I'm attempting to go through 2 layers of stepping. That's why I suddenly decided it was a good idea to try and do this filling in before I got much further. Like I say, it does look incredibly messy right now, but I'm sure it's going to be worth it. I did have the thought of using polymer clay, but I'm not sure how the MDF would have reacted in the oven. Although I could have used a heat gun, but still, either way, I'm not sure what the effect of the heat on the MDF and laser board would do. So we're going air drying clay. Yeah, hopefully I'll get Dave in as well. That'd be good. I'm using every little bit of tool at my disposal here. Try and get this right. Pretty good. You got a day off today then, Pip, or are you watching from work? gone too dry. Let's get rid. Couple of mental health days. Okay. Well, I hope you're feeling better for the rest. Where am I? Oh, thanks, Keza. Lots of people say it's nice to watch. Sometimes I forget to speak. People used to say they used to like listening to my voice as I was working, but sometimes I get so engrossed in what I'm doing that I forget to talk. But you don't always need sort of an oral explanation. It's nice to have a chat sometimes. Sometimes I just work without speaking, but you guys are there anyway, I know that. And sometimes you can chat amongst yourselves in text form whilst I'm beavering away here. I might as well do this side while I'm at this angle. This is just not the easiest one to do at all because of the multiple layers, and I'm so glad I decided I was going to do it stage by stage as opposed to try and do all the filling in afterwards, because that would have been impossible. Well, not impossible, but very hard. It's hard enough that I'm having to do these smallest windows with both layers. Oops. You're right, I've completely forgotten about it, haven't I? Thank you. It's warm. That's what happens, you see. That's why people don't make me drinks, because I just forget them. I just end up engrossed in what I'm doing and then completely forgot that I had a cup of tea. Even though it's right next to me in my peripheral vision, I just forget it's there. I'm sort of too hyper-focused on what I'm doing. This particular part that I'm working on right now has been an absolute pain to draw because it's been so difficult to work out the elevation. That's mostly because this part of the building is in a narrow alleyway, and as such it's quite hard to get a full view straight at it. So you're kind of having to look up at an angle and only capture parts of it. So, all that tea wasted, yes, the amount of times that you just end up with... And it's never the same heated back up again in a microwave, is it? Yeah, so it's been hard to get the angles correct. And even looking on Google Earth, the Google Maps, it's not very distinct on the shape of the building because quite a lot of it's in shadow when looking at it in satellite view. So yeah, it's been quite hard to draw, and every time I think I've been there or thereabouts, I've changed my mind when I've seen another part of the drawing and thought, no, another photograph that shows it from a slightly better angle. I think, no, that's wrong, I'm going to have to do it again. So I've redrawn this particular elevation about 5 times now in a bid to try and get it right. It's not 100% accurate, but I think it's going to be now. It's going to be as near as damn it. You know, some of the window placements might not be 100% accurate, but you get the feel of the building from what I've made so far and what it's going to end up looking like. As soon as I got this the brief for this one, I was really quite excited to build it, and I'm now quite glad the time has come for the build. There are certain projects you get when you see the photograph of the original that they want you to make a model of. I think, right, I want to just drop everything now and do that one instead. So this one I've been waiting for some time to be able to do. What I'm building a French Chateau. So this is one little elevation of the building that has some really ornate windows on it. So I'm just crafting, for want of a better word, or an accurate description of what I'm doing. I'm crafting the stone surrounds around these window frames. There will be a certain amount of filing and gentle sanding required afterwards, I think. Although I might be tempted, as somebody suggested earlier, to get a little bit of water and just gently smooth some of the... Ah, Raymond! Hello indeed, yes, I've been really excited to work on this. I sent you a photograph by email, but I don't know if you saw it or not. It's nice to see you here. So this is a lot of fun. This particular project is a lot of fun. There's so many really cool details on it. And it's a slightly bigger scale than I normally work on because I wanted to get all those details. Right, so this looks a bit scruffy right now because I'm just waiting for the clay to dry. I've got a little bit further on than the last photograph I sent you. That's the main house facade, such as it is at the moment. It looks really yellow, but that's because it's the only primer I could find. I just wanted to uniform it all. So that's where that bit is at the moment, and this is the internal structure for that part, which I just got off in the background. Right, I have multiple bits of dead clay all over the table now. I don't think I've got anything usable, so I need to create... Oh no, there's a bit more there. I'm going to have to get another little squidge out of the packet just to finish off that last window there. How do I get into it? I started off with model railways. Well, I used to be into model railways when I was a lot younger, or train sets to be more sort of precise in its kind of toy-like stage. So yeah, I used to be into train sets and things, and then when my kids were very, very young, my dad got them a model train set to play with, and I kind of started trying to make it look a bit more realistic and added little models to it, and it kind of took over. I sort of developed a quest to become a better model maker, to be able to make realistic looking buildings. So like I say, I started doing that for myself, just making models just for the model railway, and then as I got a bit better at making things, I started showing off my work on some of the forums that are around for the model railway enthusiasts, and people started asking me if I could make models for them, commissions. So yeah, so it kind of went from there. And then during COVID, I started advertising myself as a builder of anything. I asked if people were interested in having a model made of their own house, and yeah, it took off from there. So I've been making models for 15 years, but L&R Models, such as my business is right now, has been going for just over 4 years, making models of people's houses. I still do railway models as well, but not as much. Where did I just do that? Oh, here. Lost track. So yeah, it's doing it a while, but it was model railways that got me into this. All right. Now that's all the filling. That's taken bloody ages, pardon my language. And I estimate in about 10 minutes or so my son is going to require picking up. So I might have to call it a day. I don't want to tempt fate by rubbing too much off now while I give that clay that's down a chance to set. But I am going to have to scrub off the excess from the internal layers. I'm just going to stand that up. See, it looks a bit of a mess right now because that's just me waiting for the clay to set. So much debris. What I can be doing is cutting out the other pieces that I've got ready. Sometimes you have to create a bit of a mess to advance. So this is the very messy, scruffy stage. Now on top of that, I've got another whole layer, another row of layers to add to that, which will go in that step inside. Oops. My workbench is quite full at the moment. Stand up better. Yes, these are all the additional pieces that are going to comprise the multiple layers that we've got going on here. I might actually start with the bottom. The danger I've got with cutting everything out is that I will end up getting confused over to what bit goes where. Good evening, Kat. How are you doing? Thank you for coming. Where am I? Which layer goes where now? No, I can't get my laptop now because my fingerprint is covered with clay. Which way around does this go now? It's this one. Right, I'll just move that up there a minute. I'm going to try one first and see how we're looking. These have all been laser cut. And there are 3 additional layers for this part. If I'm looking at it right now, I'm wondering what bit goes where. There should be something that's etched. That one is, and that one is. Right, okay. It's just not very apparent which one's which. Not too bad, thank you, Pip. No, Pip. No, sorry. Not too bad, thank you, Cat. Getting sidetracked. project's going quite well so far, so, oops, happy about that. I've taken far too much off there. Oops, and I've slid off again, trying to be too quick. I know that time's getting late now. Right, so that fits in there like that. And then I have another layer that fits in again. And then a final layer that goes over the top. Now these I'm going to leave as they are. It's just that first layer I wanted to carve. How long will it take? I reckon another 4 to 6 weeks, to be honest. 4 to 6, not 46. I have a day job on top of this, so I'm not able to devote all my time, as much as I'd love to the model making. Oops. Let me see if I can just twist down. So you can just see that's going to have like a nice bit of intricate stonework. The internal part is just filled in a little bit. And then, like I say, we've got a nice bit of layered stone going on over the top. I will need to just come in with a little bit of a fine file to get some of those rough parts off. But before I get engrossed in this and end up with a son stuck on the other side of the county, I'm going to have to go off and find out how he's getting home. If he wants me to give him a lift, I'm going to have to come out soon, so just bear with me a minute. I'm going to have to go off and find out how he's getting home. If he wants me to give him a lift, I'm going to have to come out soon, so just bear with me a minute. It's been the same the last few nights, having to break off to go and do taxi duties. Oh, there's far too much glue there. By the time I get back from picking him up, it'll be too late to carry on. And I think I'm going to end up doing a run to Liverpool tomorrow to take my daughter back to uni. So again, lack of time. put it on the other piece. I was trying to be too clever. Where's my door bit? There it is. We've got 0.9, which I started with, then we got two 0.6s, which are these pieces here. Now, because I've got an actual form to follow, by form I mean I've got an indefinite space to fill in, I'm going to use super glue for this bit. Might be tempting fate, but let's pretend I'm not. In fact, no, forget it. No, we're not going to use super glue, we're going to use wood glue still, because I don't want super glue seeping underneath. At least with the white glue, if it seeps underneath I can easily wipe it off. I've been on it for about a week, Raymond, think. My social media records will be able to tell me better. I can't remember when I first started posting about it, but yeah, I've been working on it for maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. I had actually started when you'd sent me the last photographs. I think this will be coming towards the second week, end of the second week. Time flies when you're having fun. I really needed a third layer for this, I think. 0.9, 0.6 and 0.6. Yeah. I really needed what do you call it? I needed another layer of that. So I think I'll output that bit once more, just to give it an extra depth. Yes, I'm pleased with the rate of progress. I must admit, getting a laser cutter, which I didn't have when this project was first ordered. I must say, getting a laser cutter has certainly come at a great time. It's just made this highly detailed bit a lot easier to do. Yes, I'm pleased with progress. I'm not going to touch the bit that I've just filled because it's not 100% dry. All I want to do is get the excess off that section. So I can glue the next layers down. I will tidy those up fully once the clay has set firm. Didn't glue that first bit in yet, did I? No, it's just a dry fit. That bit has some pieces that I need later on, so I'm just going to put that up on the shelf out of the way in a safe place. this point, I don't care about my fingers. I'm going to have to scrub them properly later. Still haven't heard back from the boy. And I'll let my tea go cold properly this time. It's a waste of time. Oops, clumsiness. It's a good job. It wasn't super glue, otherwise that would have been glued right in the wrong place. Yeah, I think what I've accidentally done here is just cut off the piece that's the windowsill, which has just ended up with a hole where I don't want a hole. Somewhere I have a piece of 1mm which has got the windowsill parts on. Where did I put it? Don't you just hate it when that happens? I put it to one side, didn't I? No, I don't know where I put it. It wasn't that piece I had earlier, it was something else. I just wanted to finish that bit off. Is that it? Nope. Don't know what that is. It's none of those. Oh well, I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it, it's not a problem. I was just eager to carry on with that bit and finish the layers section off for that, but I can continue. Although I keep saying I can continue, but I'm getting concerned about the whereabouts of my son and whether I'm going to need to go out and get him or not. He should have messaged by now if he wanted picking up. But I can't rely on parents. His other half to